Hello and welcome back to Loud and Proud Orlando here on a Monday to talk all about the playoffs. They've started. We've got a busy show today. But first, I would like to introduce myself, John Rollins, your host, and my co host, Luis Carlos Pineda. Luis, how are you?
Well, excited for this great start of the MLS playoffs for Orlando City. Very happy with the performance. It could have been a blowout, in my opinion. I think it could have been a 4-0 win, maybe 3-0 win if some of those goals in the first half would have gone in. I think it was all the Lions. There were a lot of colleagues there at the press box from Charlotte that were saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make history here. We have the best back line in the MLS." And they were literally in our face downplaying Orlando. Boom, Facu Torres. Boom, Shakalaka. Then you got Martino Ojeda. Boom. They were so quiet at the end of the whole game. It was just so quiet. It's just so dead right there at the press box. And one guy on my left was just talking about like other games and not really paying attention to what was going on right there on the field. And it was just then then now I think the Lions go to Charlotte, and I think so far they demonstrated a pretty good level playing away. So I'm confident that the Lions can win this in two. I'll be honest with you, it gives me really good sensations. But game by game, game by game, still humble. Orlando versus everybody, and we'll discuss all that and more today.
You reminded me, Luis, of I don't know if you've seen this, but talking about like going into the game with confidence. Here I have there was Top Bin 90 interviewed some of the Charlotte fans in our stadium before, and he asked one of them about the scenario of like, what do you think we're gonna do? What's gonna happen?
Oh yeah, those are the guys that were right there. Yeah,
Yeah, and
we're down playing Orlando.
yeah, you can listen in on what they said.
Minus 10. We are in Orlando. We've got Charlotte fans everywhere. Can we hear y'all? Yes, sir.
There's like three of them, just for context.
First playoff match in Charlotte FC history. David, how you feel?
Good, buddy. Feeling great.
Nice. What are you thinking tonight, man? Charlotte finished 5th, Orlando 4th. Tough match. What can we expect tonight?
I think we're going to get a win tonight, get 3 points on the road. I think we're going to win 2-1 in Orlando's house.
2-1. Who's scoring?
Oh,
I'm going to say Bronny Bro, so Bronico.
Okay, kicking it like Bronico.
And then I'm going to say Pep Biel.
horrible.
Pet BL. How much?
5-0. He put money.
Do you hear that?
Five
This
nil.
guy put money on
Oh.
5-0, bro. You just done thrown your money straight in the trash, man.
Correct.
5-0.
Unbelievable.
I saw that and I laughed out loud, bro. I was like, okay, y'all come in with some confidence, 2-1, fine, whatever. But
Cool.
in what world were we gonna lose 5-0 to them? I think that was just a wild take, but yeah, a funny one there from the Charlotte fans. Let's get into the analysis of the game, Luis, and let's talk a little bit about how the night went down. It was a beautiful Sunday evening. I will
Amazing.
say I think the attendance for playoffs was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, for sure.
I know it's hard on Sunday nights. I know it's a school night, and people got families, all that. It just kind of bums me out a little bit that we have playoffs and it's not a packed house.
Yeah, it just shows. It just shows that we're still a small market in the MLS. I know people don't like to hear that, but I'm looking at it as in a journalistic perspective. And
Competing with Sunday football.
yeah, I mean, not only you're competing with Sunday football. A lot of people in Central Florida probably like Sunday football, and that's fine. But some people, they're gonna say, hey, but you're being really selfish by saying that because I work, and again, you can go into all of that. But yeah, I mean, it is a little disappointing. I think Orlando's still growing their fan base when it comes to people being in tune for soccer. Actually, myself and a couple of colleagues, we were talking about how a lot of it was Mike Ramajo, I believe, and a couple of other people, how a lot of the Orlando City posts and tweets and everything in general, it's down. The momentum, I don't know. The team's in the playoffs, but it seems like we were eliminated. It just seems, it just seems, it's not. It seems that people are a little bit tuned out for Orlando City.
They seem
And
tired early this year. Like
right,
the
yeah,
season is, like they feel like it's over before it's over.
yeah, so it just seems that I don't know if it's because what happened in the beginning of the year. I don't know if it's because you know I just think, we were kind of debating and saying, what's happening. But, then again, it was phenomenal. I think the wall was amazing. It made themselves be heard 110%. Fiery crowd, 2-0 win. And yeah, I mean, you're talking about one of the top defenses in the East that was completely broken down, and it could have been worse for them, but I just think Orlando still has to work on their finishing and the passing the ball back. But we'll discuss all of that later on. But yeah, overall, I feel like it was a great game by the Lions.
I'm glad you brought up the wall and the atmosphere. I took a video while I
Fantastic.
was in the wall of them coming out, and I got chills. I gotta say, like
It's
they added
amazing.
extra fireworks. I could definitely feel like an improvement in the pregame. Like this was just a walkout. So check this out if you haven't seen, but it's great. They got extra fireworks. We got everybody clapping. It made me feel good. I felt like playoffs was really here.
For sure.
Watching when that walkout was coming out, did you get a sense of that from the press box?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, when I was gonna take a picture of the crowd, of the wall, which was it looked really empty. But then, I was like, one, I'm probably gonna get some slack about that. I don't want to hear about that right now. I don't feel too good. And two, the window was not really cleaned, so it kind of there were like spots.
Not the dirty playoff window.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? And then all of a sudden, before you took that shot, I felt everybody was eating a chili dog or something. Everybody was eating maybe some popcorn or drinking a little bit of a Mike's Hard Lemonade right outside. But everybody just walked in, dude,
Yeah,
and
it
it
filled
just
up late.
yeah packed it up, and it was just awesome. I mean, they made themselves be heard, and it's just the wall. I mean, everyone right there, the middle section as well. I mean, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's read some comments real quick. We have Air Vega says Vamos OC. Chicky Boom Boom, Alabim Bom Bam, Leona, Ra 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 Roar, Stream Jesus, Louis impersonations are the best. Thank you, sir. Stream Jesus, easy pickings. Wouldn't you agree, boys? Mwahaha. There you go. Kill. In my opinion, the reason why it wasn't a pack house because we lost against ATL, and people just kind of assume that we aren't going to make it far from the looks of the performances. I'm sure, and that's the
Your
thing.
casuals might look at that and say,
But I mean, there's a lot of casuals in Orlando. I mean,
yeah.
it's and it's gonna take time. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean or say, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong behavior. No, people are entitled to do whatever they want. I just feel like it's a process. I think eventually Orlando's on the verge of becoming soccer city, and for soccer to be the dominant sport in the city of Orlando, which I feel already is because of what Pride's doing, what Orlando's been doing in the past few seasons. But it's gonna get even better. So, but you're totally right. Kill. Anthony Solis, Jungle Boys with a win. Thank you so much. Yeah. So,
There was a really good article written by I'm not a big fan of this guy, but Mike Bianchi, who writes for the Sentinel.
oh,
He I've got his, we won't go into that. But anyway, he did write a good article, I will say, about the sport in the city right now, talking about the Magic and where they're at with their young players and growth and what they were doing, and the pride. Obviously, we know about them and Orlando City. So there's talk about Orlando. This is our time, and we're a big part of that. So we could go on a run here and make a big deal and make a big splash. So let's hope that he's right and this is a time for us.
Yeah. This is kill, kill, kill. Yeah, guys, by the way, I don't agree. I agree with the cash flows, but come on, you can't control everyone's way of thinking. It is what it is. They help us fill the stadiums at the end of the day. Yeah, you're completely right. Like I
No, we're
said,
not complaining.
no, I'm not
We're trying
complaining.
to point out that it would have been nice to
Yeah,
have
it
a
would have
full
been nice to
stadium.
have a pack house, but it's a process. I remember that when Orlando was a USL, it was such a great camaraderie because everything was, it was like kind of like so tight, so close. And eventually that keeps growing more. There's word of mouth. I mean, there's so many people that live in Orlando. Also a lot of people that recently have moved into Orlando. So it is a process. And yeah, I mean, I have nothing to say about that. But talking about the actual game, don't you agree, John, that the first 15 to 20 minutes, to me, I mean, I think Orlando could have been up 3-0, and just kept wasting chances, man. I felt like I kept tweeting, "We're wasting chances here." I don't know. What do you thought?
Yeah, we definitely, had a lot of early chances, and I was worried, Luis, it was going to be one of those games where we were just, like we start out, we see that so often where it's like the 20 minutes or so, and we really come at teams at home, we attack, we make a lot of chances, but we're just not finding that final ball. What I would say is I was impressed with the speed of which we moved the ball around, and that's I think what made a big difference here. We talked before about our ability to break down the low block, that when teams sit in deep against us, it causes us problems. And I think in this game, they really worked on moving the ball, moving the players around to open up the spaces, to create the areas to be able to score goals. And we saw a lot of that in the early part of the game, but they weren't taking their chances. There was that counterattack that they had, and it was like, oh, we're leaving ourselves exposed. But we did manage to get that first goal from Faku. And I think really that kind of allowed us to like take a breath and be like, okay, like we got, if they'd have scored first, it would have been a completely different story.
Um, that Christian Kalina, with that massive save, I think he saved it. He saved it with his ankle. That Ramiro Enrique 1v1.
He had just an okay game, according to Dean Smith. Wild to say that about your own goalkeeper. He performed that
Yeah,
well. I think
and
he had a much better performance than okay.
people were saying that he's gonna win the goalkeeper of the year,
I
which
mean, at
probably
12 shutouts, he should win goalkeeper of the year.
yeah. So I mean, again, Dean Smith was a little harsh there, but I just felt like if it wasn't for him, I mean, it definitely would have been 3 or 4-0 Orlando win. And then I felt like also Orlando, and this is one thing that I think the boys need to kind of keep an eye on, the whole play of controlling position in the mid, tilting your attack to the left, waiting for the cross of Rafa. People are gonna figure that out, guys. Yeah, you gotta start. People are gonna start figuring that out, and one guy's gonna mark Rafa, and then Rafa's not gonna be able to make those crosses no more. And then how are you gonna, what's your other chance? And also Martino Ojeda, he was huge too. I mean, I don't know, more of like as a true 10. I feel like he stepped up tremendously, and I think he's just gonna get better. And also, I feel like he's able now. He's more vocal. Well, what I noticed was he's more vocal with his teammates, and also I do want to say, that I could hear and I could see Rodri Schlegel truly like looking more like a captain than Robin at times. Um, Especially in this game, he was truly like telling Kyle and Dagger where to stay, defend, in the back line of four. And because Dagger sometimes will go forward, and then he kind of sometimes, if the other winger is very fast, sometimes he's a little slow on the comeback. No, Roger's like, no, no, no. This time I'll go forward. You stay back. It was pretty like cool to
Yeah.
see that. And this is a guy that doesn't even, they speak two different languages. So it was super impressive. And
But that's where
also,
we saw them go wrong against Atlanta. Like, it was literally the dagger
yeah.
and, Rodrigo Schlegel mix up for that early goal. Like, and that's what they didn't do in this game. So they obviously worked on that, which was great to see.
So there's partnerships brewing here. You have now what I saw in this game was, aside of the leadership of Schlegel, the leadership of Ojeda, Facu being very crafty, and he really found a partnership with Dagger. The whole game, it was just them on the right flank, and then Angulo and Santos kind of staying a little back and just going forward for those crosses and then retreating back. And then Angulo was just all over on the left. Like, I think,
Yeah, I mean, that first goal is Angulo coming up the left, gets the cross in, and then it bounces down for, like you said, creative Faku, who's just like, he was floating around a bit more, I feel like, he had a bit more of a free roll.
the way Angulo's playing, like,
Mm.
honestly, like, for a player that never really, that was kind of, he was put down in Brazilian Serie A. He barely had any minutes playing for Palmeiras. To play at this level, and he's the most consistent player in the club, playing the most minutes and not really looking like he's tired. Because after the game, John, the players come out to go in their cars, and Angulo comes out fresh as a lettuce, just saying hello to people, not sore. I would be sore if I was him, after running, like, looking like I'm Vinny Jr. down the left flank. And then signing autographs, Oscar as well, Faku as well. And I did this poll right here yesterday, so thanks to all the 47 votes that we had. Even though a lot of people would attribute Faku because of the record, because now he broke a record,
Greatest
and
goal scorer in Orlando City
right,
history,
he's,
going
he's
past Kyle Larin.
yeah, he passed Kyle Aaron. So long, Kyle. And then Martino Ojeda also had a good game, but Ivan Angulo won 53.2%, man of the match, man. And to me, I think he's been so important.
He wasn't on the club one, which I was really
Yeah,
surprised, and there was a lot of comments being like, "Where's Angulo?" Because I think he would have won that too. Like, obviously, yeah, Ojeda and Faku got the goals, but the defensive shift he put in, the way he was covering, the way, like, that run on the second goal from Angulo is just, I mean,
I was like,
beautiful ball to find him, and then he runs, and then
uh,
Ojeda is just so smart there, where it's like, look, he expects you to pass. I'm just gonna bury it near post. I
yeah, I'm just
think,
gonna shoot it really hard because Kalina, man, that dude's,
yeah, and that's the thing with Kalina, and when we go into the second round, like, we have a tendency sometimes to shoot directly at the keeper, and like, that's, like, Faku had a chance, he just shot it right at him,
yeah, yeah,
and like, that one is like, you can't. He's
yeah.
gonna get that all day long. You gotta test him, and I think in that scenario, Ojeda goes, "I'm just gonna smack it near post," because
Yeah.
I don't think he suspects I'm gonna do that, and it like, if he'd have tried to curl it around him, Kalina probably would have saved it, or he'd go for like the easy pass and the shot, like. But he just goes, "No, I'm gonna do something different and try and throw him off," and it works perfectly.
Yeah,
What a
he
finish!
shot it with the
What
tip
a
of his
goal!
foot. Yeah, he shot it with the tip of his foot, and it was a missile. It was like there's no way he could stop it. But with that Angulo play, man, it was so impressive. I was like, dude, is this Vinicius Jr. or is this Ivan Angulo?
It was a great pass
Bro,
inside, though, Ojeda too. So it
I'm
was
like,
a pass of quality that we don't often see from Angulo.
I saw Cartagena fouling Junior Urso.
Yeah,
Little,
that was an
I had a
interesting
little,
battle going
I
on.
had, I had a little tear.
Do you see that when Wilder
Yeah,
just completely, like, basically ankle broke him and took the ball, left him on the floor?
yeah, and then that's the last thing we heard about Junior Urso the rest of the game. He didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I think he
I think he kind of
went a little
like
quiet there.
kind of told him, hey,
Mm.
But then it came with a
Yeah.
yellow, and then
Cesar and Wilder doing their thing in midfield again, man. Like that,
yeah,
we forget the Atlanta loss. Like it's a big difference for us when we don't have the double pivot.
it's a huge difference. And Oscar said it. It's. I mean, I don't want to sound mean, but I mean, you could tell when it's Felipe Martins and Cesar when if it's Angulo and Cesar. I mean, the connection and what they got going there, it's been for seasons now. So, um, and it shows. Wilder is he plays for his national team. He's used to the pressure. He's used to the spotlight. So he knows to play these type of games. So I'm glad to see that they excelled. Let's read some comments. It says here, Angulo so fast, stream Jesus. Anthony Solis says the Charlotte goalkeeper was fantastic this match. Orlando kept pressuring them. Jason Maldonado says, could this have been our last game at home, even if we make the finals, being that we beat Charlotte the next game?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that could have been it. Like that could have been your only chance to see a home playoff game.
that's right. That's right. I mean, you imagine if man, I don't want to jinx it, man. I don't want to talk about like
One game at a time. One
I don't
game at
want
a
to get
time.
too ahead, but you guys think Angulo is our fastest player in the club? 100,
100%.
100.
No, absolutely no doubt. I feel like Shaq's pretty fast. I feel like he's probably close on that one. Alex Freeman, I think, gets up to pretty top speed. I know before it would have been Huan, but yeah,
Yeah, but
like I
no,
know they
but
did that. Didn't they do a sprint test at the beginning of the year? And it was like Angulo, like Ladero did really well, but that's more of a fitness thing than a
yeah,
speed thing.
yeah, it's a fitness thing, but I just
Yeah.
feel like Angulo.
I think acceleration, like that's the thing. Like, there's a difference between acceleration and top speed. Angulo's acceleration is unparalleled.
Yeah, but the thing is, the change of pace of Angulo. So he hits you with a 1v1 and then he makes that run. That is
It's just like the road runner, bro. He's just gone.
Ruan will get off the field. You know what I mean? If he tries to
Yeah,
do that now,
Iran was like the Flash where he couldn't slow down.
correct. It's
Yeah,
kind of like reverse
yeah,
flash. As
yeah.
a stream Jesus, Urso isn't gang anymore. Nothing personal. This is Vega. Junior Russo's a nobody.
He still
LOL.
got a
Good
big
shit.
shout like when they read out his name. Everyone was like
Yeah.
boo, and then Junior, hey, like so. We still like him, you know.
Yeah. Anthony Solis. Urso rolls with a different crew now.
Yeah, he's not with the Crips anymore. He's a Blood now. So
But I think our midfielders are better. There you go. Thank you. Crazy to think that we had Angulo and Ruan during the Open Cup. That's right.
a
That's
lot
right.
of speed on the outside.
Yep, true that. Yeah. So obviously we had a red card that Charlotte got. And I do want to say the dudes they were talking. My colleagues right there in the press was like, "There's Pep Biel. Pep Biel is an amazing Spanish midfielder, man. He's like he's amazing. He's gonna score against Orlando. He's gonna be it. He's gonna be that guy, man. Orlando doesn't know what Pep Biel has their number." Pep Biel. Bro, Pep Biel didn't do anything. I don't know. Who's Pep Biel, man? Like, I was like, Pep Biel. And then he got a red card. And then I'm like, dude. And to me, I'll be honest with you, that I saw it there, well-deserved red card.
I think on me that what really annoys me more than anything on this is that you got guys like Andrew Wiebe and other pundits and stuff debating this red card, and I just don't think there's any debate here. We have seen in MLS that you make any kind of intentional like aggression outside of the playing of the ball, you're gonna get sent off. And you slow it down, and you're like, oh, like he doesn't really, like he
Yeah, that's a red right there.
and like it's like they're debating. Like I had a debate with Andrew Wiebe on Twitter about this today. Like is this intentional? Is it not? Like, like, and he's like, oh, well, how much contact actually is there on Jansen? I'm like, that's irrelevant. The point to me here is that he clearly raises his leg up, lashed out at Jansen. Like, here, this is completely unnatural leg position. There's no way you can tell me that this is not excessive. This is excessive force. This is unnecessary. The ball is not even in the photo. Like, it's gone completely. The ref was looking the other way because the play had gone the other way. He's on the ground. Jansen is like, maybe there's a bit of the dark arts here. Jansen's, trying to like trip each other up a little bit, get in your head. Fine, but every player does that. And what you can't do is then lift your leg up and lash out like this. So I think the fact that they're debating this, and not only that, Luis, Dean Smith seems to think that there's a very good chance that they're going to get it overturned. Like, he basically said in the press conference, like, oh yeah, I saw it, and it was just a tangle of legs, quote unquote.
What kind of tangle is this, man? Tangle, the movie from Disney?
He's like, oh yeah, like
bro.
they're going to appeal, and the individual board is going to look at it. So there might be a world here where they somehow get this rescinded. And I don't think it should be rescinded at all. I think it's very clear and obvious. It's an intentional, kick out from the player. It's dangerous. He tries to trip Jansen. He basically does trip Jansen. Now, whether Jansen's got some involvement in this or not doesn't matter. That's just part of the game. So what are we doing here? And I think to review this and like to debate it is like, oh, is it a red card? And if they bring this back, I genuinely think there's something going on, because like, what are we doing? The ref called it on the field immediately. There was no VAR review. He got the assistant flagged it, said this is what happened. I saw it. They said, yeah, red card. You can see it in real time. It really annoys me, Luis. I think that this is just not debatable. I think it's one of those things where if they do manage to get it rescinded, then I think something is seriously up, because for me, this is a red card all day long. So I don't understand what the debate is about.
So Orlando City has complained several times and has submitted applications to overturn a lot of decisions. Red
there's a whole process.
And they never. I don't think the club has never gotten one decision.
I think Dean Smith thinks he's in League Two, bro, where it's like, oh, everybody, you can just kick each other and that's fine. Like, no, this is pro MLS. You do anything. You sneeze, you'll get a red card.
So I know this is gonna sound a little harsh, but if LAFC complains, if Inter Miami complains about a referee decision, if Messi complains of a referee decision, there's an 80% chance that it will overturn it. But if Pep Biel, Dean Smith, Robin Jansen, Willer Cartagena complain, they're going to be like, nah, thanks, but nah, So I don't think, I think Charlotte truly believes they're a really big market, a big fish in the pond right now. Let me tell you guys, I think Orlando is a bigger market than Charlotte for soccer right now. So I think Charlotte is making good strides. It's a great organization, but peas with peas and carrots with carrots, man. Like they're growing, but they're not even at our level right now of an organization. I feel that they're not going to get this overturned. I mean, this is studs up, over excessive aggression. It's on the rules. I mean, he's extending his leg unless he's just getting a cramp or something, or I don't know if it's like. Let's see what Dean said. Look at that.
You want to hear from
Look at that. He's
honestly, this guy is
man, he looks
most
spiffy,
Brexit bald dude ever. Like,
man,
the definition
spiffy
of lower league English old school management, in my opinion.
We have to ask you about the red card that was received by Pep Biel there at the end. What did you make of that?
At the time, I just thought it was a tangle of legs. I was told from the fourth official that he kicked out at him. and we continued to talk about it, and the lack of time added on. And I got a technical warning for sarcasm, which is a new one for me. Never had a warning for sarcasm before. This
Yeah, so they gave you a technical warning for sarcasm, but yet you think they're gonna rescind that as a red card? Like, logic, bro. Like, do you see what the pattern is here? You do anything
Hilarious.
in MLS, you're gonna get caught. You talk
Welcome to the
back, you're gonna
MLS.
get
Welcome to
carded.
the MLS, Dean Smith.
Yeah,
Welcome to
exactly.
the
Like, are you
MLS.
new here? Yeah, you are new here. So let me explain how this works.
Yeah.
And like
Ain't
you
gonna
said, Luis, appeal committee. I mean, here's his opinion on it, but I think he's grossly misinformed on how these
Yes,
things work.
correct.
and I've just come in and watched it back, and I want the club to go and appeal it, because for me it just looks like a tangle of legs. There's certainly, from my point of view, the referee didn't blow for the foul at all. It looks like he's been told something's happened by his other officials.
Yeah, he got told it happened because it happened so late after the play. He's watching the actual ball. Like,
And then he walked out.
yeah, like that's why we have officials on the sideline to signal when he doesn't see something. So they can tell him, oh, by the way, this happened. I'm sure VAR got in his ear and said, oh, by the way, that happened. Like, anyway.
And turned around that the red card came out pretty quick. I'm not sure if it went to VAR or not, but we have to appeal that, because that's never been a red card.
Come
If,
on. Appeal
Never
your
been a red
sarcasm.
card. Like, what?
He
I
should
just
appeal
don't-
his sarcasm.
Look, yeah, I'm like, dude, you're getting really good at this sarcasm thing if you never think that's been a real red card. I just wow. I mean, I know he's gonna say what he's gonna say and protect his club, whatever, but nah, not for me. And I think if it is appealed and turned over and they win, I think that's crazy. I think that is over. I think they are going above and beyond then at that point to try and do something against us. Like, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the league is going
If
to.
that was Schlegel, there's no way we'd ever get a chance. Like, it would be definitely a red card, and we'd never have a shot at getting it rescinded.
No, I agree with you 110% there. And I just feel like Charlotte needs to concentrate, and instead of complaining and putting all these appeals for red cards, a blatant red card, a studs up, whether you want it or not, it is a red card. Just play with Diani, man. That dude is the size of Galese, dude.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't they didn't start. What's his name? Like the guy Ajamang.
Erwin Vargas.
Well, Kerwin Vargas, but they didn't start their big guy up front. What's his name? Ajamang. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So I just feel like they just gotta concentrate and make sure Diani doesn't trip when he gets the ball in his feet. And honestly, because man, that deal looks clumsy as hell. Who was in charge of drafting that guy, or who was the guy of signing this dude? Like, the dude was tripping with the ball in his feet, and this is the guy who's going to replace Pep Biel. I mean, technically, that's unless they want to put Junior there. I mean, he has played there, but I feel like, I mean, this is the way I feel. I feel Junior's forever a Lion, man. I think,
I mean, they did not get good ratings here on football. Beal obviously with a 4.9 with that red card. Tim Ream, their best player, compared to us.
Look at that. Look at all that green right there.
And then if we look at the stats, I think it really does say the game. And, red card, no red card, that had nothing to do with it. That was the end of the game. We'd already won it. That matters for next game. In this one, we had 17 shots to their 9, Luis. We had 6 shots on target to their 2. Both teams had 2 big chances. Apparently, both teams missed 2 big chances.
We got that one by Ramiro.
I mean, we're dominating in all of the stats, shots, passes, everything.
I mean, it was all Orlando City, but I just feel like they need to capitalize. They need to capitalize in the first 15 minutes. I mean, that's the whole thing, The first 15 to 20 minutes of the game, it was just wasteful chances.
Yeah.
And that could definitely bite us in the ass, especially against better opposition, especially Inter Miami, for example. I mean, you can hold off Inter Miami first half 0-0. I mean, Atlanta did it, and then all of a sudden, boom, 1-0, and then you get demoralized, and then 2-0, I just feel like you need to make the best out of your chances. Obviously, individually, Torres, Ojeda, our attacking third has performed tremendously.
Yeah.
And another thing I'm going to say is the defensive togetherness of the team. I feel like Oscar has now 11 players that are not afraid of, if they, let's say, do a bad turnover, which I think it was Cesar had a couple of those, to run back for the ball and try to get it. Angulo had also a great turnover. Then he got the ball back and went into transition. So, you know, that type of stuff, it's great. That defensive mindset of the team overall, and it's going to help out we play against bigger opposition. So that needs to continue, because Bronico, who usually has great games against Orlando, did not exist. Westwood did not exist either. Abada, which is their change of pace player in the second half, did not exist. So I just think that the Lions are kind of taking notes. And I don't know if that of what's helping is the film that they're watching on these teams, but I mean, it was an overall great game by the Lions. I mean, it could have been a larger margin, but I just felt overall it was solid. We have
Yeah, I mean that I agree with a lot of that. I think we gotta, we gotta take those chances. We got, and it's gonna be a completely different, like we gotta do this again. And I'm sure in their house they're gonna have more support, obviously, which leads us nicely into talking about the next game. But they're gonna have more support. They're gonna have hopefully another plan. Like I joked on Twitter that Dean Smith doesn't have another plan. He might not have another plan, but if you are any coach worth their salt, you can't just do the same thing again. So you'd hope that we don't hope, but you'd think that they would probably change up their tactics, do something different. Like if they're out Pep Beal, they should be out Pep Beal. Then, there was talk about maybe them going two up top, playing Ajimang and Stradevsky together. Like, we're going to have to be aware that they're going to do something different. We got to go to their house. It's not going to be, the same game. It's not a case of completely repeat it, but we definitely need to go out there and do the same things well that we did in this game. And that was moving the ball quickly and getting the possession, keeping possession. We also did very well defensively here, making sure that we were compact when we needed to be. But away from home, they're going to want to, attack more. We're probably going to sit in a little bit more. It's never easy when you play a team you literally just played directly before. So we're going to have to deal with that. But there's no reason that we can't go there and get the second win and wrap this thing up in 2.
Now, the only thing I'm going to say about Charlotte that it truly worries me,
Yeah.
it's that Orlando's going to go play in turf, because Charlotte's stadium,
Yeah.
that's where,
bank.
and there's been a lot of debate even within the people in Charlotte saying that in 2021 that stadium went from natural grass to turf, and in 2022 and so on, there have been a lot of injuries because the Panthers play there.
Yeah.
Especially in the NFL. It's a 74,000 seater stadium that they play in.
It's almost like MLS should make
Yeah.
a rule where you're supposed to have a stadium before you start playing in the league.
Correct. It's unbelievable, and even the NFL, because Aaron Rodgers, when he played in the Packers, he had this. No, when he played in the Jets, he went to the Jets. He tore his Achilles again, and they blamed the turf. So then the Player Association of the NFL started urging the owners, like, yo, like, change it back to grass. And so they're debating to see if that's a possibility for next season, but they're not really keen. And if the NFL is complaining and the MLS, it makes sense. The MLS is also should step up and just say, hey, turf guys, sucks. That,
I don't
that's-
I don't know about their owners. Are they owned by the Panthers? Is it the
yeah,
same ownership group?
I believe so. I'm not
Yeah,
quite
like
sure.
Atlanta, basically.
Yeah, but turf sucks.
Yeah, I know it
I
sucks.
mean,
It's
just
just that
complain.
makes a difference in like how motivated
And,
they are to do something about it, you
and
know?
if
Like,
yeah, and if both teams, NFL and MLS teams, are gonna benefit on playing in grass, just playing damn grass, dude.
yeah.
You
I mean, it sucks playing on turf. We know it's a problem for us. We know we don't do it
know?
well. We know there's risk of injury. You know, it's better than having to go to Yankee Stadium or wherever we could have potentially had to go and play on the stupid baseball field, but it still sucks. I think they're going to have a big crowd. They'll probably get 30 or 40,000. This is their first ever playoff game, and they average around that anyway. So I can imagine they'll be maybe pushing their numbers for this one. Uh, Hopefully, you know, there's a good atmosphere, but we want to kill that. You know, let's get an early goal and just kill their whole vibe, like we did in this one. I feel like that second goal went in, Luis, and they knew like they were not like because I think 1-1 here, they would have loved a 1-1 draw. So when we were 1-0 up, it was like, okay, we're still in it for them. And then when we went 2, it was like they're not going to get 2. So that's kind of what we need to do here again. Let's get an early one. Let's get a second one early if we can, and just kill this thing off before we even let them have a chance to get into the tie.
So let's read some comments here. Ruan runs more like Forrest Gump, says Carlos Guilla. Thank you. He had
Run. That's good.
he had the whole stadium singing "Hey hey 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 goodbye." Says Stream Jesus. Stud ups plus aggression. Jeffrey O. Faco did not travel to Paris. There you go. Stream Jesus. Dangerous. I've seen players' skins lit open like that. Air Vega. I do not understand why the Charlotte player will do that to the Florida Viking. Anthony Solis. Also, didn't Ruan get a red card for similar incident during the playoffs a few years back? That's right. You're completely right.
Yep.
This guy is a total wank off, says Stream Jesus. Bro is a wanker, says Anthony Solis. Air Vega, bro. Dean will probably be that soccer manager that makes an orange card for Tango legs. Stream Jesus. Vargas has the worst haircut in the MLS history. 2 ponytails. Come on, man. Air Vega. Love how we're destroying this Charlotte team verbally and on the pitch. Says Air Vega. Anthony Solis. Charlotte really thinks this is a third division Brexit football.
Yeah, for real. Like they're out here. Yeah.
Now,
They're gonna play 4-4-2, I think, in the next one, man. It's gonna be real Brexity.
yeah, another thing, and talking about the pitch, I don't know if the club is listening, but if they are, this is the worst pitch you can bring Brecalo on. He will get re-injured in this pitch.
I don't think we need to bring him on.
He just came back playing a few minutes yesterday, and it's great to see him, but he's injury prone. Clearly he's already shown he's injury prone. You don't want to put an injury prone player on turf. You want to make him play in grass at least. So
I think also you just don't want to change that back line. Like you said, they had great synergy in this game. So we wanna keep that together. And Santos, man, like Santos early in the year was struggling on getting his defending right, being in the right position, getting his tackles in. He's doing much better.
he was great.
I feel like they tried to target Rodri, but Rodri was like really comfortable on the ball and was like bringing the ball forward and laying off passes and starting to play. And it kind of backfired a little bit on them. Like, they tried to make him feel uncomfortable and he handled it well.
Now, El Pulpo, 3 clean sheets, according to my notes here. 3 clean sheets across the first 3 first round playoff matches, going back to the implementation of the new best of 3 format to the start of last year. So, good job of Pedro. I believe he wasn't really challenged as much, but Pedro is great. And there's rumors are coming up for Pedro saying that there are rumors coming from Peru. People in Peru are just bored, saying that he wants to come back to Peru. Those are false rumors. I'll say right now, false rumors. He's very happy in Orlando. He's going to be staying in Orlando for way long, and he's still under contract, so there's no way. So, but either way, yeah, I think it was a great solid game by the Lions. I would just say maintain the defensive cohesiveness, the togetherness. He needs to be consistent, and then when it comes to the attack, which it's proven that it's working, whether working at in practice, um, just to put it behind the net, just because you imagine if we go through the next round. Do you want to talk about going through the next round? So you want to go game by game? If we go through the next round, we're gonna be facing who? The winner between Atlanta and Inter Miami.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to. I want to just let's get through Charlotte, and then because that's a whole other conversation.
Maybe
And
what happens if Atlanta wins?
I mean, either way, you know, FCK ATL, FCK, Fort Lauderdale. Either way, Luis, it's a
No, but
rival
we're gonna be
game.
playing. No, but if Atlanta,
Either way,
if
we
Atlanta
we
beats
gotta want to
Inter,
beat
if
them
Atlanta
bad.
beats Inter, number one, it'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean that's the
Number two, Don
it
Garber
would
is gonna
be.
be like pulling his hair.
Is the only time I would congratulate Atlanta and say thank you.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I'd be like, thank you
So
guys. You did
number
us
one
a
would be
favor.
hilarious. Number two, Don Garber will probably be crying in fetal position.
Oh, he'd be
Um,
so upset.
But number three, Orlando will be playing again in Central Florida. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean we know with this playoff bracket, what it looks like and how we're gonna go, where we're gonna end up. Obviously, I think like Oscar would be doing. We got to focus on one game at a
Yeah, one game
time.
at a time. Yeah.
But yeah, as suspected, obviously here we are.
Well, since he's winning,
Since we are winning right now, 1-0 against New York. Obviously, we're gonna play either Miami or Atlanta. Their second game is on Wednesday, so we're gonna have a good idea, I think. That one at Atlanta. So if they don't, obviously if they don't win there, that's it. It's over. So we might know before we play on Friday for sure, or we might still be up in the air if Atlanta can somehow pull one back against Miami. But we just got to focus on the here and now, and the here and now is going to Charlotte, Luis, and getting this win. You want to read a comment?
Yeah, sure. I did. I was looking for a picture of my bracket that I did.
Oh, you did one.
I did a bracket. So far, everything's going. Everything's. I had Orlando City win the championship. People call me crazy. No, but so far it's looking like mine.
Yeah.
Is
Well, there were some pundits that picked, or Charlotte over us in this one, which I was like surprised by. I don't think they're.
Was that Andrew Weeb?
It was actually Andrew.
There you go.
Was
there
one
you
of
go.
them.
He doesn't like.
And
He doesn't
then
like
he's got to
Orlando.
protect his picks by trying to defend a red card.
I would like to be the new Andrew Weeb.
He's a nice guy. I don't like to get into it. I just get annoyed when I see someone who's literally his job is to constantly look at these things, and I think they're looking at it for the wrong reasons on this one.
The hunker down. What's up? Can actually listen live for a change. Backline good synergy, but with Schlegel, you never know. One move away from a red card. No, you're completely right. But I mean, he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I don't know how hunker down feels about this or John, but I feel like this season, if you tell me from your two center backs who's had the best performance, to me, Schlegel. I think physically he's been better this year than previous years. He's not done crazy stuff. I mean, he's had some games that have been a little off, like Hunker Down says, but I think consistently wise, I feel like Robin, for example, that Aguiman header, that was all, unfortunately, that was all Robin. I mean, Robin was too slow on Aguiman. Aguiman won one up on him. And then usually, how long does that happen?
Yeah.
So we're seeing a little bit of a, I don't know if I want to say regression, but I just feel like it's I feel like right now Schlegel it's being more vocal with his teammates. Is like I remember when Kyle came in, he was telling Kyle, stay back, stay back. Like he was actually telling him, and that's why Orlando was able to maintain the shutout. I like how no matter what, there is a Southeast team guaranteed in the Eastern Conference Finals, says Anthony Solis. Atlanta does F, says the hunker down. Atlanta gives FTL fits. Love to see them beat them in ATL and take the 3 games. Yeah, that'd be great, man. He's much better this year. Was just being funny. Yeah. Schlegel's being much better. I mean, if Atlanta does the impossible, their ego is gonna go through the roof. But I think in a way that works so well for us either way.
Yeah, I mean that it's I feel like if they do get through, then we're playing like an Atlanta team with energy, but I'd rather play them than Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, because
And
Fort
if they don't,
Lauderdale,
we get to go to the Fort Lauderdale's house and have a potential of upsetting things.
yeah,
And I
we'll
think
have the potential of upsetting, but you have to understand against that team,
it's you're playing the refs and you're playing everything.
exactly. You're
It's
playing
truly
15,
Orlando against the world in that one.
you're playing 15 people. And I mean, and they
Don
have
Garber's going to come out and put the ball in the net himself.
Don Garber is gonna cry if I said stop the game, turn off the lights, turn off the lights, turn off the lights. Right. So I just feel like I think against Miami, if Miami goes through, Orlando needs to play that semifinal game as it has to be perfection.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no ifs and buts because one simple mistake, it's over. Because this
that's why the cliche of it, one game at a time. But it is important in this scenario because like we played a really good game against Charlotte. We were not defensively sloppy. We made a lot of chances. We finished our chances. We just need to see that again. And then if we do, that's good momentum. And then we can try and replicate that again against Miami. But if we play like we did against Atlanta in any of these games,
we're
like
done.
if we have that opening 30 minutes, it's over. So
now
we gotta make sure that we're maintaining the form that we have and what we did, the little things that we did right on last night. We got to keep that going.
Now, hand in your heart, John. If let's say we win the best of 3, we close it in Charlotte, we win 2-1. All right, and we go through, and then Miami wins the second game. Orlando, Miami semifinals. In circumference, whatever, semifinals, whatever. All right, we go through. We're gonna be playing in Fort Lauderdale, and let's say it doesn't go the way Orlando's way. Do we throw this season away? Are we gonna go and? I mean, don't you think it's a little bit? I mean, hand in your heart. I mean, it is. Any team in the league is expected to lose against Miami right now.
Look, I think if that happens, then it'll be 2 years in a row that we would have got to the same point and knocked out by the eventual winner. Because then, I think if they knock us out, like I feel like again these games like that is massive to say who's going to go on and do the whole thing. So there's a chance that if that does happen, they go on and win like that. That's the scenario we're looking at 2 years in a row. Now, is that a bad thing? I would say like, okay, you lost to the eventual winner in playoffs. I mean, secured a top 4 finish 2 years in a row. Compared to our other years, I think that's a very good achievement. I think it's going in the right direction. Of course, there's a setback at the beginning of the year and everything. We don't want that to happen again. But I think you have to look at it and say overall, it's been a good year. And you have to also remember that there's only one team that wins it. So there's always going to be all the other teams that if your expectation is the only thing that is like, a satisfactory like win for the year, a successful year, right, is winning MLS or like, winning the East or something. If those are your like the parameters that you have to do that in order to have a successful year, then yeah, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be satisfied because unless we do that every year, you're always going to want change and be upset. But I think also you just need to look at it from more of a wider perspective and say, have we got a good coach in place who gets the most out of our players? I would say most of the time, yeah. And I would say, have we seen growth year on year? I mean, this is the 5th year in a row that we've made playoffs. So there are a lot of positives. Of course, we would like to win something. And that's not saying we can't win something this year. But it just seems to me like if we start again next year with a bad start, of course we can have those conversations. Of course it's going to come up again. It's going to keep going. But I don't think there's a need, in my opinion, to change everything up when you come fourth and potentially get knocked out in a late playoff. I think if you're, way down there at the bottom, if you're Chicago and you don't make playoffs, if you're Atlanta, sure, you're going to want to change things up. I don't think a top 4 team in MLS thinks that, oh, this is really bad, I need to shake it all up.
Now, when it comes to that Miami team has an expiration date, not a lot of these players are going to possibly continue.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Look at Atlanta, like, and Miami, and like they changed their coaches a lot, and there's a lot of changeover, and they're not having the consistency to put themselves in a good position to win it. Like we are in a position right now to win it, and if we continue like this with Oscar and this squad, I think we'll probably be in a situation next year where we're also in a position to win it. Now, one of those years, yeah, you gotta win MLS Cup, you gotta do it, but.
Yeah,
I think look at Philly. There's another example. Like Jim Curtin had a horrible year this year, and they're not going to get rid of him. Like I just think there's the rationale is of thinking like we're a European team where we're going to get relegated and we got to change everything because I don't think MLS owners and MLS teams work like that. I think it's a case of I'll happily slowly build something, and eventually they might say, look, Oscar, you're not going to get us there, but. I think that's too soon to say that.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to continue with the team. If you ask me, I feel like it's all gearing towards him continuing with Orlando City, even though there's some people that apparently know more than the people that are credited in the club. But from my understanding is, I feel like he's going to be staying. Now, there are some players that, for example, this season has not been the best one for Robin Jensen, for example, even though he's a captain. His contract expires in 2025, December 31st, 2025. So we're gonna be with Robin more than likely. Then you have players that the contracts are expiring at the end of the year, like as Nico Lodero, Pedro Galese. Cesar's contract expires this year. You have also Rodri Schlegel, Rafa Santos, right? Kyle Smith, Felipe Martins, Thomas Williams, Luca Petrasso, Jack Lynn, Javier Otero, and Kochevsky. All those guys expired at the end of the year. And the rest of them, I mean, we have players that we haven't even seen that have a contract till 2027, like Tahir Reed Brown.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, who?
We're gonna do a full review of the season, and we'll talk about our preseason predictions and all that once we know when the season ends, wherever we are. We'll definitely get into that and do a full episode for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. It says I think the Messi effect has turned people away from MLS, unless you're a Messi fan. So obviously, they want him to win. Yeah, in South America,
yeah.
They're all saying, "Oh, the only reason why the MLS people watch is because of Messi." Blah blah blah. I'm like, Schlegel future captains is Anthony Solis probably. Would a fourth place any European team league change everything? No. You should be happy for consistency, and you never know. Could be the year. Competing at top of conference is consistency. I agree. Hopefully,
look at Chelsea, bro. I mean,
yeah.
You change it all the time, and you could just get worse.
The worst signing was Mudryk. That was
Mudryk, 100 million on Mudryk.
Yeah, but that was garbage.
That was wild. I do want to say on the Messi debate there. I had a tweet couple. It was like a week ago, um, and it was really interesting because it got a lot of response from a lot of different fan bases around the league, and just basically
Oh,
saying
oh
that
yeah.
like you know
Share it, so people can see it.
it's just saying everything.
People got really,
I said a board of
really
Messi League
salty.
Soccer. They only care about him to arrive. They've used this opportunity. Sorry, they haven't used this opportunity to attract better players. They just used it to make cash, leaving the real MLS fans just constantly pissed off and disenfranchised.
Um,
And it got like a massive, 25,000
look
K.
at
Like this is
that.
like I don't get these numbers. I'm not this. Like people in Orlando, read my stuff. No one else knows who I am. So the fact that it got retweeted by a bunch of like Columbus fans and all over the MLS of real fans who feel the same way as we do. We're not just salty Orlando City fans who are like, oh, they've got Messi and we're upset about it. That's not the point. I think the point is that they've spent the last year or so jamming everything Messi down our throats, just like 24/7 pink Messi everywhere, drinking Michelob Ultras, and there was all this torque, Louise, of like, we're going to bring better players in. It's going to be better. And what have we seen? Like Giroud, who probably would have come anyway. Like we've seen guys that I haven't seen any ability for the other teams in the league to actually really benefit from this, apart from making money as they all do from Messi being here. So I think it's just I think we're tired, right? We're tired of it, Luis, and I think it's great having him in the league, but it's not great if you were already a fan before he got here.
Well, I mean, yeah, I completely agree. I see it as a point of, um, you know, what is this Messi effect leaving you for the league to grow? And I mean, you take Jordi Alba, which is the most consistent player actually, numbers wise in that team. Take off Suarez, which is I think his last year playing the sport. I feel bad for Leo Campana. He's playing second fiddle, and he's like I think 26 years old. Um, you got Messi and Busquets, so you take those out. Who do you have? Like, I mean, what's your legacy? What's next? So, but when you ask the same question, teams like Cincinnati and what they're doing with Cincinnati too. You see OCB, Orlando City, Columbus, and in Farsi and all those guys, Admonson, all those guys, young players, NYCFC and the youth team as well, doing really good. And that's the future of the league. I mean, that is the tangible future of the league. That's them leaving a legacy for their club to grow and grassroots and all of that. And I think yes, it's cool that you're able to sign, I mean, if there's no restrictions of signing any players, I guarantee you we could take advantage of that too. But there are restrictions. And I'm sure at some point when Messi leaves, Cat's gonna be out of the bag. People are gonna find out some shitty stuff. Probably has happened. And again, I think people, Messi coming into Inter Miami, it also helped him because there was no other team that was going to pay that
Yeah,
much
I mean,
money for him anymore.
right. That was it. Like I get it. Everyone's like, oh, he would have gone to Saudi Arabia if he
No,
cared more. I'm like, if he cared about the money, it's like, oh no, he definitely cared about the money. He
for
figured out
sure.
he figured out a way to get paid and retire in Miami, where he already had a house. So it was all preordained for years. But anyway, enough about that. Luis, you know what is a great, funny scenario that's just occurred? We're talking about this red card and whether it shouldn't or should not be a red card. You gonna argue with referee of the year, Drew Fisher?
Oh my God, who's that?
So the guy who refed our game last night, who made that call, Drew Fisher, has won referee of the year for pro. So yeah, you can't argue with that, Luis.
Yeah, good luck getting that appealed.
So there you go, Andrew Wiebe. Obviously, it's not wrong because he's the best we got.
Stream Jesus says people are gonna find out about Diddy and Messi, and it's gonna devastate some people.
Apparently, he had a suite at the stadium or a box or something at the Miami stadium.
Wow.
So yeah, there you go.
Look at Don Garber right there.
Here's Don tweeting about his favorite refs. Isn't that wonderful?
Kyle Atkins. There you go.
Yep. But anyway, I feel like that's everything we want to talk about in today's show. Luis, do you have anything else we want to
No,
get into?
just want to tell everyone to check out our videos on YouTube. We just put the post press conference from yesterday. It's up there. It's all time stamped for everybody. You can skip to your favorite part and drop us your comments. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, X as LPO_podcast, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as your Loud and Proud Orlando. Is that a Tops card? Says a hunker down. LMAO, that's right.
It kind
I
of
was
looked like it, yeah.
who wants that Tops card, man? I don't want it.
A referee tops card? That's just who wants that? No one. Lineup predictions, says Anthony Solis.
Lineup predictions.
Run it back. Yeah.
Yeah, same lineup.
He's got his lineup now. I don't think it's gonna change.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the same lineup, John. I think it's gonna be Galese, Dagger, Schlegel, Jensen, and Santos, Wilder, and Cesar. Wilder needs to be careful though, because you don't want to get another yellow or be sent off. Ojeda, Angulo, Facu, and then up top Ramiro Enrique. That's right.
Yes, indeed. I think that's the winning formula. I know, there's some people that debate should Duncan be starting. I don't know. I think it works this way.
Yeah, I think Duncan comes as a change of pace player. I think Oscar knows, what each nine is going to give him, and I think Ramiro is being great also by trying to recuperate the ball and try to go into transition the first few minutes, and that's how a lot of transitions started as well. And I think the way they have it down packed is great. Now what I'm thinking is what's going to happen. Eventually we'll discuss who's not going to renew and who's going to renew, hopefully, and what positions could be boosted after this season. So we'll see.
For sure. Well, we want to say thank you to everybody who's here live commenting. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we killed it. We were like about 12 people on YouTube and about 50 people on Twitter, man. Amazing.
Thank you so much. We will, of course, be back next week to talk all about this on Monday, and we'll obviously potentially preview a third game, or we'll preview a game against another opponent. We don't know.
Against Atlanta.
We'll see what happens. If you like what you heard today, please go ahead and follow us on social media at LPO_podcast. That's on Instagram and Twitter. And you can find us as Loud and Proud Orlando on Facebook. If you are not already subscribed on YouTube, please go over there, subscribe, drop a like on the video. All that stuff helps us out. We appreciate you guys for being here and leaving all your comments. We got a few more, Luis, before we head out.
Says, okay, bye guys, vamos Orlando. Says, Cincy wins, craziness at the end. Hunker down, kind of like the Duncan and Muriel second half subs, changes it up. Yeah, 100%. Yep. Vamos, says hunker down. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for your support. And as always, vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando. Take care, guys.